Today we're going to learn how to draw an ear using charcoal. For a reference image, I'm going to be using a reference image from one of these worksheets that you can find linked below, along with the slideshow and video demonstration. However, you can use any reference image you like. So we're going to begin by drawing out lightly in pencil, very lightly. You could barely see it. I'm working on some drawing paper here. You can work on drawing paper or you can work directly on the worksheet. But I'm beginning by using some very soft charcoal in a brush. So I've ground up some charcoal from my vine charcoal and I'm brushing in the larger shapes. So you can almost imagine that you're squinting your eyes and making the reference image very blurry. So you can only see those larger, darker shapes and middle values. I'm not worrying about keeping my super light values at this point. The second step is to go in and look for your darkest shapes. So here I'm using a little bit of a harder charcoal to get my darkest darks. So again, I'm still only looking at the larger shapes. I'm not letting myself get caught in those like soft value transitions. I'm just getting those bigger shapes of value. So now I'm using the brush to blend and get some of those middle to darker tones. So here I'm using an eraser. So using charcoal is very much a push and a pull. So you are pulling out your highlights and pushing your darks and then blending. So now I'm blending out some of those darker darks. And then I'm going to go in again with my eraser to pull out some of the details. And again with my darker charcoal to get some of the darker darks. So you can see those shapes are starting to get a little bit more detailed, but the darker, harder charcoal, the blending stump, and the eraser are going to help me pull out the lighter lights and push in the darker darks. So I'm using the eraser, I'm looking for the lightest lights, so those brightest lights that are kind of reflecting along the edge and kind of on the cartilage part of the ear. And then you're gonna have to go back in with either your brush or your blending stump to kind of soften where those eraser marks are. It's easy to get discouraged and think that your eraser kind of like made a mess, but you're gonna kind of have to go back and forth. So I'm using the charcoal brush again, and then I'm gonna go back in with the eraser a little bit more and just see how much detail I can get by pulling out those highlights, pushing those darks, blending, but I'm looking super duper close at the reference image and making sure that all of my shapes are kind of in the right spot. So at this point, I'm mostly using the eraser, the harder charcoal, and the blending stump to soften those smaller edges in between the light value and the darker value. So remember that this video is really sped up. So this took really a lot longer. This looks like it kind of went in super quick. But like I said, you're going to have areas that don't look so great at first. You're going to have to go back into them just because you pulled out a highlight. You're going to have to go soften an edge. You may need to go back and pull out that highlight one more time. But it takes a little bit of time. It's a layering process, but you can get some really awesome blended realistic results with your charcoal. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe and let me know what you would like to see more of in the comments below. That's it. Have fun.